What's going on, YouTube? Today I bring you my Week 13 predictions for the 2021 NFL season. Um, Obviously, the variety in content has been lacking over the past month plus. Honestly, it's been a while since we've done anything else than score predictions, and that is going to change. Actually, probably Friday or Saturday, I will have a 4-round mock draft out. So obviously that's a great big change from what we've been doing. And starting next week, I am planning to start doing positional rankings for this year's upcoming draft. And of course, any requested content, if someone wants a team mock draft, we can do prediction videos, all that stuff. It's going to be coming soon. I'm going to start a new series of my top 10 players of all time. It's all going to be coming back very soon. So if you have still been watching the videos, thank you for sticking with me. But without further ado, let's get into the Week 13 predictions. And starting off with Thursday night, we have a bit of an interesting one here with Dallas in New Orleans, and Dallas obviously pops off as the better team than New Orleans. The issue is Mike McCarthy isn't coaching, and he's actually been a pretty good coach this year. And I don't know who, it's not confirmed yet, but the Cowboys have around 8 players out for COVID. Add on the fact that the Cowboys have just not been playing super well lately. In New Orleans, a team that's desperately looking for a win. I just kind of feeling the Saints or the Saints here, with the upset. It's not by a big score deficit. I mean, I'm predicting a 1-point game, but I think I'm feeling the Saints in this one. I had a really good week last week. We're 114, 65, and 1 right now, so that's obviously pretty good. So yeah, I'm feeling the Saints for this one. Could certainly see the Cowboys pulling off the win here, because they are also a team that needs a win right now after starting off pretty hot. They've really dropped a few games here. So I could see them getting the win. I'm feeling the Saints here, though, and I feel like the Cowboys drop is going to continue. Then we have not a very good matchup here with the Colts in Houston. Houston still been disappointing. They've had a couple good wins. Those are kind of fluke wins to me. I think the Titans are a much more volatile team than the Colts. The Colts are just a safe team. Their offense puts up good, steady production. Jonathan Taylor looking like maybe he's honestly an MVP candidate, so maybe the offensive player of the year right now. And their defense has been playing great. Darius Leonard forcing turnovers. DeForest Buckner still playing great. Kwity Paye playing great as a rookie. So, you just have a team that's firing on all cylinders. Great coach with Frank Reich versus the Texans, who have struggled in every component this year. The few bright spots I could give out is that, Jonathan Greener's been pretty solid. I mean, he looks to be a solid pass rusher for the future in Houston. So I'm sure they'll get someone to pair with him in the draft most likely. Other than that, there's just not a lot of positives to take away from the Texans. So I'm predicting a no touchdown game here for the Texans, who lose 30-9. Colts just a steady, good team. Texans just kind of the opposite. Then we have Minnesota in Detroit, and I think Detroit's winless season continues. Vikings definitely dropped a game against the 49ers last week. However, they are not that bad that they're going to lose to the Lions, and who knows, because there's been some big upsets this year. Lions have almost beat teams like the Steelers, the Ravens. They're able to beat AFC North teams for some reason, or come close to at least. And yeah, with the Lions, I don't really see them making this a very good game. Vikings on paper are better everywhere, and they are better. It's mainly just Mike Zimmer's a bad coach, except I think he's at least a bit more capable than the Lions head coach. Not head coach necessarily, just the entire coaching staff. So I do have Minnesota getting back to 500 here and Detroit's winless season continuing. And honestly, looking at their schedule, I might end up predicting Detroit to finish 0-16 and 1 on the season and become the third winless team in the Super Bowl era. So that would be fun, obviously. Then we have the Giants in Miami, and even before Daniel Jones was confirmed out for this game, I was still going to take the Dolphins. They've been on a roll lately. Tua has been amazing. There seems to still be this group of people that think Tua's a bad quarterback and, how he sucks and he's not the future and they should trade him and stuff. And that's just so false because this team, they truly just need a bit more defensive consistency. And even then, they've had some great guys this year. The main thing for this team is to get an offensive line and a running back if you can. Because Myles Gaskin is not horrible. I don't think he's the best running back in the world, but that offensive line is putrid. It is god-awful. and you need to upgrade it with whatever you can this offseason. I don't care where you throw money. I don't care what picks you take at it. Upgrade that offensive line right now, and you are a playoff team. It's a team I definitely was not very high on in the season, and they've performed to such a level. But Tua is a good quarterback, and it was Brandon Perna actually. He asked, would Broncos fans rather have Russell Wilson or Tua Tagovailoa? And I still can't pronounce his name apparently. And I said Tua. Honestly, I think I prefer Tua just because, especially if you look at the way both of them are playing right now. Tua is still, he's only a second-year player on a rookie contract and stuff with still a lot of upsides. The fact that he's playing this well this early on with the offensive line that he has really excites me for the future of the Dolphins, and I do think they're a great team versus the Giants, who, they're just not a good team. I understand they just pulled off a win against the Eagles, which is great and all. I don't think the Eagles are that fantastic of a team anyways. A division game in your own stadium, I'm hoping you win that game. Especially with Daniel Jones being out, I don't think Mike Glennon is going to lead them to a win against a still pretty good Dolphins defense. They've had a few guys show out, like I said, mainly Jalen Phillips and, what's his name? Of course, I'm forgetting his name right now. The guy across from Jalen Phillips, their other good pass rusher who had a pretty good year last year too. Cannot remember his name right now for some reason, but he's also been good. Xavier Howard not been quite as good, but he is still one of the better corners in the NFL. Javon Holland really turning into an elite safety. He was my safety one from this year's class, so he's really showing out. And Christian Wilkins playing good. So all in all, this Dolphins team, it's really starting to click all around. Like I said, offensive line is a huge issue, but I don't think the Giants are going to be able to play good enough defense to win over it. So I've got the Dolphins winning pretty comfortably. Then we have the Buccaneers in Atlanta. And Atlanta, they've gotten a bit more hot lately. My big issue is the fact that Atlanta still just doesn't have what it takes to get these good wins. The Buccaneers have struggled at times this season, yeah, but it's always been against, for the most part, good teams, and they seem to really have gotten over that. A big issue is that their offense was struggling in their past, their secondary mainly, but their pass defense as a whole has struggled. Their pass defense has started to work a bit better, mainly because Antoine Winfield has been playing amazing, but their offense is also starting to get it together again, and the running game is going right now. With Leonard Fournette, 4 touchdowns. Great for him. Versus the Falcons where, Matt Ryan's been really hot and cold this season. There's been times where he's played good. Kyle Pitts has been really hot and cold. There's been times when he's played good. The offensive line has really struggled. They have no wide receivers. The only consistently great player on the Falcons right now is Cordero Patterson, at least on the offensive side. A.J. Terrell's been great, but Cordero Patterson is like the only offensive player on that team that's consistent, and he's been great. Is he enough to beat the Buccaneers? No, they're still one of the best teams in the NFL. They're still going to be a competitive playoff team. Falcons are not. I'm going to take the Buccaneers in a divisional matchup here. Then we have the Eagles in New York, and maybe one of my hot takes, because, obviously, Jets, not a very good team. Eagles, not the best team in the world, but they have been better lately. I think the Giants game kind of showed where the Eagles really do struggle, and I picked them in that game, so I don't know if I'm going to be picking them much else the rest of the season. Obviously, I was not very high on them coming into the season, predicting them at 1-16. They're a much better team than 1-16, yes. They're still not a great team, and they've had their guys. Devontae Smith's been great as a rookie. Jordan Mailata has been really good this season, really playing up to that contract. Darius Slay has been amazing. Javon Hargrave has been great. So they've had some guys, and Jalen Hurts has started to step up in a few games this recently. But I'm kind of predicting an upset here with New York. It was a team that I thought would get a bit more hot towards the end of the season. I was taking them over Houston, and they did pull out that win. And I think the Eagles are a better team than Houston. In some ways, I think Houston's a bit more tame and especially on the defense. I think they're a bit more coached and experienced. If anything, they're not a talented team. But with the Eagles, they're a team that can be really volatile on any given week. And I'm just predicting a volatile week in New York. I'm going to take the Jets to get a good win here and really start to bag the Eagles' chances of making the playoffs, which were kind of getting their hopes up, and then they've not performed. Besides this last week, they've been good. I feel like that streak continues. Then we have the Cardinals coming off a bye to play in Chicago. Kyler Murray is finally going to return, and that's the big selling point for me, obviously. I mean, I would have taken the Cardinals in this game anyways, even if it wasn't Kyler Murray. Colt McCoy is still a very reliable backup. But with Kyler Murray back, I think he's going to come back and play really well again against a Chicago defense that has struggled. Khalil Mack is out for the season. I'm not a big fan of Justin Fields, as I made it known. Their offense is not playing amazing right now. Versus a Cardinals team that really has been, if you think of every team in the NFL, sure, the Patriots have looked dominant recently, but they started out pretty poor. The Cardinals are really the only team this year that's looked like they're the top dominant team that nobody can beat. And that's not to say that nobody can beat them. They've lost 2 games, and I don't necessarily think they'll make it to the Super Bowl quite. They definitely could, but they're definitely that top team in the NFL right now for me, if not the Packers. And so, yeah, I just think a Bears team that I'm not very high on, that's just not performed well this season against a Cardinals team that's just been really good. I'm going to take the Cardinals here on the bye week, off the bye week. Then we have the Chargers in Cincinnati, and the Chargers coming off a bad loss to the Broncos. My logic was kind of weird. I'd noticed that since the Broncos started up 3-0, I've gotten every single prediction wrong for them. Every time I predicted them to win, they've lost, and every time I predicted them to lose, they win. I was going to take the Chargers last week, and then I used that logic, and I took the Broncos in the end, and who came out victorious? So, yeah, I mean, the Chargers, and if you look at really how the way they lost that game, their offense is really inconsistent, and their defense is struggling in a lot of departments right now. The run defense, they could not stop Melvin Gordon or Javonte Williams. Joey Bosa, he's been a good pass rusher, but not a run stopper. And their linebacking unit looks really weak. The only great player on that defense right now is Derwin James. Otherwise, it's just not performing up to par. I mean, they had their top 3 defensive tackles out. Chargers are struggling right now with injuries and consistency. And now after a loss like that, where you're one loss away from going to 500 in a very close and competitive division, you're facing the Bengals, who have been really good this season, and they're also looking for a win here to really keep themselves afloat in another very tough and good division, and keep close to the Ravens. And so I think with it being in Cincinnati, the Bengals definitely have a bit more momentum going for them at the moment, I think, than the Chargers do. The Chargers, just such an inconsistent team. I'm going to take Cincinnati in this one in a close defensive game. And defensive only really because I'm just feeling like the Chargers are going to take that step up on defense, but the offense is going to struggle, whereas, the Bengals, they're just going to have a tough time versus the Chargers. I think the Bengals do come out on top. Would not be surprised if Chargers win this game. Definitely not, but I will take the Bengals. Then for our first afternoon game, we have quite a snoozer of the Jaguars in LA. Now, who knows? LA's been pretty bad since they acquired Odell and Von Miller, which is unfortunate, because that really looks like the Broncos fleeced them in that trade, and like the signing of Odell was pretty much worthless. Odell's made a few nice plays. Miller has really not done anything for them. Matthew Stafford has struggled in recent weeks. Cooper Kupp's still been going, but that's like pretty much the only positive. Aaron Donald, still great, but not on like that normal elite level. And he's still been really good, but just not elite. Jalen Ramsey's been good. That's not enough for this team to be winning games, and they've dropped 3 in a row now. If they lose to Jacksonville in LA, then I think it's time to realize there's an issue here, because this is a team that should be really, really good, winning games, looking competitive, probably should be on their way to the Super Bowl, and they just do not look like that right now. So I think this is important for them to go in and just get an easy, dominant win, all gas, no brakes over the Jaguars, who is just not a competitive team. But if they're struggling, or, God help them, lose against the Jaguars, there's an issue in LA. Then we have what I was thinking about making my game of the week, but I didn't quite. I think I reserved that for a different game. We have Washington in Las Vegas, and I'm excited for this one. I think this is going to be a really good game, a good mix of defense and offense. Now, Washington's defense has certainly been a little underwhelming. It is what saved them against the Seahawks, though. Whereas with the Raiders, their offense has been really underwhelming in recent weeks. But whereas the Washington's offense, it's been solid at times. Raiders defense, it's been pretty good, except for, more recently. Max Crosby's been great. Yannick Ngakoue's been pretty good. Casey Hayward's been great. Nate Hobbs has been pretty good. They've got some guys. In Washington, Antonio Gibson has been pretty good, right? See, there's like a lot of these guys that have been pretty good on these teams. And if you look at the coaching, I think it's on equal level right now because unfortunately, it really seems like Ron Rivera is struggling as a play caller right now. I have no idea why he went for it at the goal line. Literally just kick the field goal. I don't understand the idea behind that at all. Either way, it's going to be a close competitive game. Washington is currently the 7th seed. So winning this game is really important because not only are you keeping yourself in the playoff picture, but you're maybe improving it and you're also improving to 500. With the Raiders, similar case to the Chargers, they're in a very close, tight division right now where they've been struggling recently. And so this is a very important game for both teams. And of course, this time of the year, every game is important for most of the teams. But this is definitely one of the more closer ones. It's going to be very competitive. I'm going to take Washington in this one with the upset. I feel like this is a team that's been really hot. Like, yeah, they didn't look amazing in that Seattle game, but don't forget that they did just beat the Buccaneers. They've looked really good recently, and the Raiders have not looked super good. So in Las Vegas, I will take Washington. Another game where I would not be surprised at all if Vegas comes out, but I will take Washington. Then we have a pretty good AFC North divisional matchup here with the Ravens at the Steelers. Well, we just had the Steelers and the Bengals, and the Steelers got absolutely traumatized. I don't think they'll be that bad again. Definitely not. It's kind of hard to be that bad when you are a talented team, but it's just pretty obvious at this point that Big Ben is just not a capable starter. The offensive line is starting to struggle just a bit because Najee Harris has been struggling to get going. Their receiving unit's actually been pretty good. Deontay Johnson has gotten production. Pat Freiermuth does look amazing. The defense has actually been the more disappointing thing, to be honest. I mean, TJ Watt has struggled or been hurt recently. Cam Hayward's been like the only great guy on that defense. The linebacker unit is looking really bad because Joe Scherbert's not playing. Devin Bush is not playing good. Joe Hayden, he's hurt right now. Minka Fitzpatrick has been very underwhelming this year. Not to my standards because I'm not a Minka fan if you've watched my safety rankings video. So yeah, I mean, I don't think they'll play that bad again, or at least they shouldn't. I don't think they'll win this game. I think the Ravens are easily a better team in a divisional matchup like this. Ravens, they're trying to stay atop the AFC North. Steelers, I mean, yeah, they could certainly win this game. I don't think they do. I think they make it a close game. I don't think they win. Then we have the 49ers in Seattle, and it's tough. This one's really tough because is Seattle really even going to try? We don't know. Because they're 3-8. Their playoff hopes are pretty much done at this point. Their schedule does not get that much easier. Russell Wilson has not looked good since coming back from injury. The defense has actually stepped up somewhat. I mean, Jordan Brooks has been pretty good. Bobby Wagner's been pretty good. Like, their defense has not been horrible. It's really their offense that has screwed them over recently. DK getting production somewhat, but just not great. Same with Tyler Lockett. And the rest of the offense is just not doing the job. To be honest, I think at this point, Russell Wilson's pretty much on his way out of Seattle after this year. So you have a team that's like, they're really not playing for much at this point versus a team that's playing for a lot. The 49ers, they're trying to stay in that playoff race and stuff. And winning this game against a division opponent puts you at 500. It's such an important game for the Niners. I just don't know, with the way that things have been going for Seattle, are they so disheartened that they can even put up a fight against the Niners? I think they do. I think they put up at least a fight, but I don't think it's a good enough win to pull off. I don't think it's a good enough fight to pull off a win here in Seattle. So they do drop to 3-9 in my predictions, and Niners improve to 500. Who knows? Maybe Seattle does come back with a good fight this game for some reason. I don't get what that reason would be for. But either way, I have the Niners winning this one. And then my Sunday night football game. Well, it's the Sunday night football game. My betting game of the week. Yeah, and I know people are gonna probably see this, and I have the Broncos beating the Chiefs, biased fan, whatever. I already explained what happened with the Chargers game, where on paper, and it was my prediction originally, the Chargers should have won that game. The Chargers would have won that game, but according to my logic, that meant Denver was going to win, and Denver won. So going into this game, believe me, I was even more than the Chargers game. I looked at it and was like, in Kansas City, KC is actually playing somewhat good right now. Should be a pretty easy win for KC to keep on top of the division, but I'm going to test that logic again. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, whatever. It was a lucky 1 week thing. If Denver wins this game, not only does that mean my logic is pretty darn good, but that'd be a great win for Denver, because if Las Vegas loses like I'm predicting this week and you beat Kansas City in Kansas City, you're sitting atop the division right now. You're basically you have the tiebreaker over the Chargers and Chiefs at that point. Only team that has a tiebreaker over you is the Raiders, and they're a game behind. So this is a very, very, very important game for Denver. This might be the most important game of the week, because you look at Denver's schedule, and besides the Lions next week, it is not easy. After this week, you go to face the Lions in Denver, though. So, that's most likely a win, right? But then you face the Chargers again, the Chiefs again, the Raiders again, and the Bengals. That is not an easy schedule at all. And so you get yourself here a win in Kansas City. That is an enormous win. And you're probably looking at the playoffs at that point. You lose this game, on the other hand, you're probably not looking at the playoffs. So I think that all together, the Chiefs are obviously battling for a playoff spot too. It's in Kansas City. The Chiefs are the better team on paper, right? Their defense has been playing good. Their offense has been getting better. It all means the Chiefs should win. But with my logic, that means the Broncos are going to win. So I'm going to try it again. We'll see. I got it being a close defensive game. 21-19 Broncos. My betting game of the week, because I think there is a legit shot Denver wins. I don't think it's like this out of the region prediction that Denver wins. And if they do, -10 is a pretty good buyout if you do get that correct. So don't take my advice, but if you're going to take my advice, I would bet on this one. And then last, my game of the week, our Monday night football game. We have the Patriots in Buffalo, and this is a popular game where, Buffalo is the favorite technically according to betting odds, and everyone's taking New England. I'm going to go against that. I think Buffalo covers it. Yeah, Patriots have been hot. They've been real good. Mac Jones is playing amazing right now. I think Mac Jones is the offensive rookie of the year, to be honest. Matt Judon has been amazing. He's a defensive player of the year candidate for me. JC Jackson is a defensive player of the year candidate for me. He's been great. As a whole, Patriots have been great, right? So why do they lose to the Bills? Because literally everybody's taking the Patriots, and I don't think it's some out of the world thing for the Bills to win this game. Yeah, they've been struggling, but I think in Buffalo, you're looking to put yourself back on top of the division with this win. And I can still very well see it where the Patriots do finish out the year on top of the division. I just think for the time being, Buffalo will be able to take that back. It's probably going to be one of those things where, Buffalo beats them and then people are really cool on the Patriots, but so much that they end up being good in the playoffs. I think it could be something like that. And yeah, certainly would not be a surprise to me if the Patriots won. They've been great, like I said. I'm going to take Buffalo in this one, though, just to kind of go against the people, and because I think there's a legit shot, and I just think it's what will happen. But that is my Week 13 predictions for the 2021 NFL season. If you liked the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Like I said, a lot more uploads coming. Probably even tomorrow. A lot more variety content. Stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for sticking with me. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see all you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.